Hey all, it's Lawrence from Express Unity, and today I decided to take a little advice from you guys and solely focus on Playfab. So we're going to be creating a new project, which I've already made here, so go ahead and make a new Unity project for yourself. So after you do that, make your app ID and whatever you need to do in Playfab. If you don't know how to do this, I've already shown you guys how to do this in my multiplayer tutorial, so you can go back and watch the first episode of that. So yeah, once you do that, I've gone ahead and you're gonna want to go to the Unity SDK page for Playfab, and we want to download the I forgot what I want to download. I think it's the Playfab SDK. Yeah. Also, I will have this linked in the description, but I've just found this free RPG icon pack, which is pretty cool. So we'll be using this for like items and stuff. So I've already downloaded that. So in the project folder, I'm going to just create a new folder, and I'll call it sprites. And then inside the sprites folder, I'm gonna go ahead and make another folder called items. I'm gonna open up the RPG item pack, and I'm gonna drag everything inside of items. I think we'll go with 48 by 48. Be good. Alrighty. Make sure it's still there. Yes, it is. Cool. Alright, so before we import the SDK, let's just let Unity load in all those assets, and then we can click on the unity.package that we just downloaded, and this should have all the Playfab stuff. So we'll import that. Cool. Okay. So I think now we need to download the editor extension. This will allow us to put in our app ID and whatnot. Okay. So you just want to go to Window, Playfab, and Editor Extension. And now you just want to log in. And I'm just going to do this on my other window. Alrighty. Once you've logged in, it'll look something like this. And then you need to go to this area here. It says, before making Playfab API calls, the SDK must be configured to your Playfab title. You go set my title and click on the studio you've made in Playfab, and then it'll show you all your titles. So in this case, I'm going to use the same ID as I did the multiplayer tutorial, and I'm just going to select it like that. And then request type, I'm just going to leave it as default Unity web request, and I believe that should be it. Playfab should now be configured. Yeah, so we can now exit out of this window. Alright, so what I kind of want to do, also I just realized I made this a 3D project. That's alright, I guess. So what I want to do is basically have a registration system that's automatic. So say you're using Playfab for a phone, instead of having the login window that we had for Playtime, we basically want the user to automatically generate a username and a password, and that's all going to be stuff that the user will never ever see, and then it'll basically save those in player prefs. And since this is a single player game, we don't really need to worry about security. It's really just there for the player to log in and log out. So we're going to be doing that. Now Playfab actually does have a Google registration thing that you can set up. However, I don't really have any devices to test that out on at the moment, so I am going to basically just do my own version of that, and then if you guys can figure out how to do the Google Play Store, then that's great, more secure for you. So all these items here, I'm going to just select them all, and I'm going to change the texture type from default to sprite. I'm just going to click apply. And just let it do its thing. Alrighty, I'll just quickly save this scene. And now let's make a new scripts folder. And the first script we're going to make is, we'll just call it Playfab calls. Actually, we'll call it Playfab manager. Alrighty. So we want to do a few things. We want to make a new private string, and we'll call this hidden user. And then we want to create another private string, and we'll call this hidden pass. And then what we can do in the start function is make hidden user equal to player pref dot get string, and we'll make the key something, exactly the same. It can be anything you want, we could just leave it as hidden, but I'm going to make it hidden user. And so basically what we can do with this player prefs when we need to is we can save to this hidden user string our username so basically if this string is empty, what we want to do is create a new user and then save it, so that next time the app runs, instead of it finding an empty string, it'll actually find a username, and that'll prompt our script to log in instead of registering. So the next thing we want to do is make hidden password equal to player prefs dot get string, and we'll do the same here. We'll just call it hidden string. Not hidden string, sorry, hidden password. Alright, so that's all that done. Now we want to be using Playfab, and we can do something like if hidden user and user is equal to string.empty, and then we want to do and hidden password is equal to string.empty. Then this is where we're going to be calling our registration, because we haven't got a user on the current device. Else, this is where we're going to be registering. So, no, sorry, I did it the other way around. So, if these are empty, we're going to be registering in here, and then if they're not, we're going to be logging in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a Playfab client API dot register Playfab user, and then we want to go ahead and create a new Playfab. What was it? Register. The name, what was it? Register Playfab request. Okay. We might need to do using Playfab.client models like that, and then register Playfab user request, and we're just going to call it request. Okay, so what we can do is for our request username, let's go ahead and make something like user and then hashtag plus random.range, and let's make it a random.range from 0 to like 50,000. No, you don't want to do that. Oh, okay. Now we want to do equal new register Playfab request over here. Alright, and then for the request dot password, let's go ahead and just do pass hashtag plus random.range, and then we'll do 0 to 5,000 again. So that's all good. So by doing things this way, basically what this will mean is the account would only be able to be used on that device only, which is why I highly recommend doing the Google Play Store or whatever other device you're focusing on. I believe Playfab can do Steam, it can do Twitch, it can do Apple, I think. I believe in order to do that, you just need to go into add-ons and enable a service. Yeah. Good heap. Yeah, it's got heaps of stuff you can do. Pretty cool. But like I said, I don't really have a device that I can show the Google API with right now, so I'm just going to do it this really hacky way. And I mean, the main objective of this tutorial is just to expand on the currency and inventory tutorial I did the other day. But I mean, I'm doing this as well, just to show you guys that there's many different ways that you can really just create a login. Okay, so next we can do request.email, and I'm pretty sure we can just make that equal to null. I think it'll still register if the email is null. Alright, so now in the first parameter we will do request, and then we want to do result as a callback, and then we want to do error as a callback, and I believe that's all we really need. Okay. So if it's successfully registered, what we want to do is playerprefs dot save dot set string, and we want to set hidden user, and we want to set hidden user to let's go ahead and do something over here. Let's create a new string, call it user, and a new string, call it class, and then copy this line over here to user, and the same for the password. and now we'll set them to user and pass. And then for the player prefs that's that string hidden user, we're going to set it to user. And then we're also going to set player prefs dot set string hidden password. We're going to set that to pass. And then after all that, we're going to do player prefs dot save. And that'll save all this data that we just set into our registry. And this should work for phones as well. Alrighty, so we can test this out, and over here we can say debug.log logged in, and over here we can say something like user account created. Okay, if it doesn't work, it is probably because we need an email, and if that's the case, we'll just do another random generated string. No big deal. We'll just have to script compile, and then we'll create a new empty, and we'll call this Playfab manager, and we'll drag our script onto that. So if we play, oh gosh, that's actually we don't want to run this in the update, because that is going to be running every frame. So copy all of that, and let's do something like making it public. No, we don't need it public, just a void, and we'll call it login. Like so, and we'll just make this happen on the start. Alrighty, that should be it now. So if we play, interesting. Let's okay, so no new users have been created. In this error callback, let's go ahead and do debug.log error, and we're going to log error message. I have a feeling that's probably due to the email being null. Yeah. So for the email, let's just go ahead and do something like email, and then plus random.range 0 to 50,000, and then plus at nothing dot nothing. So I mean, that's a pretty fake email address, but it should work. Alrighty, so if you play this, oh really, still invalid. isn't anything else I had to forgot to set, is there? Don't need the display name, not yet anyway. Password, username. Yeah, that should be it. Let's go maybe error message. Error details. Okay, we'll try this out. Well, that wasn't a helpful error. I'll change that back. Okay, so let's just test this email, because out of everything I'm pretty sure it's going to be this email that's not working properly, so I'm just going to do test.com. I mean, we could even leave it like that. I'm pretty sure Playfab doesn't care if people have the same email. I mean, not unless you set it to anyway. So let's go ahead and play this. Wow, really? Still invalid. Interesting. You know what? It might actually be these the hashtags that we're using. I don't think Playfab likes any unusual characters as well, so we'll remove them. And we'll see if we get anywhere now. Alright, there we go. So, that's out the way. User created. And then if we get out of that and then go back in, we're now logged in. Awesome. So now we've got an automatic registration and login system. So that's all cool. Do remember that, I mean, well, you could make this for a multiplayer game. It's not really intended for actual, like, real microtransactions. It's just more for like a single player, like, storyline where you could just gain coins in quests and whatnot. If you did have a game with microtransactions like this, you're gonna want a more permanent solution, because I'm pretty sure any user that loses their progress after paying X amount of money, just because they switch device, they probably won't be too happy. So definitely look into the Google Play if you're using that, or Apple if you're using that, because this is just a temporary, quick little hacking method. So yeah. So now what we want to do is, in this login area, once we are logged in, or once we have the username and password, let's go ahead and do Playfab client API dot login with with email or with Playfab. With Playfab, and then I believe we need a login request. So login request, login Playfab request, yep, and we'll call this login request equals new login with Playfab request. Okay, and I'm actually going to add this underneath. We could even do it here, and then we can just do login request dot username equals hidden user, and then login request dot password equals hidden password. And then we can just pass in our login request, and then we want to get our result callback. Oh god, I can't talk. And then we want to do our error callback. Alrighty, cool. So this debug.log, let's go ahead and throw that inside of the result callback so that we know that it is working. Yeah, okay. And there we go. Awesome. We are now logged in completely automatically. So that is all good. Now what? Let's see, how long is the video been going for? 25 minutes. I mean, we can quickly set up a item class. So we have our sprite items. Let's maybe go with the swords. I don't know. This one sounds pretty cool. So we'll drag that out here. Let's create a new tag. And I'm going to just tag it as an item. And I'm just gonna name it sword. Alrighty. One other thing that we probably want to do to these, because it is pixel art, is we want to set the filter mode to point, and that'll make it sharper, and then we also want to set our compression to none. So if we apply that, we'll let it do its thing. Alrighty. So now, as you can see, the sword has no blurred edges and it's all pretty sharp. Okay, so alright, and the video, let's create a new folder and let's call it class. And I'm going to create a new C# script and I'm going to call it item. Okay. So we're probably just going to make a pretty basic thing here. We can do a public string and call it name. Then we want to do a public int, call it cost, and maybe a public int. Yeah, we'll do cost per. No, we'll call it gain per second. So kind of my whole idea for this little project is you start off with a very basic item and you gain like 6 gold per second with the basic item, and then the more items you have, the more gold you get. So if you have a sword and then another sword, then you would get like 12 gold a second. You basically just keep going until you can you make as much gold as you possibly can with every single item in the game. So that's the basic idea for it. So we're doing pretty basic for now, so we could just go ahead and drag this class script onto the sword. Compile and then give it a name, maybe basic sword. The cost of it will be 0 because we're going to make it the default sword, and gain per second, let's do 2. Alright. So okay, let's quickly set this up. Excuse me, in Playfab. Let's go ahead and go to our economy, and don't really need this, I was testing it, but I'm going to make a new catalog and I'm going to call this items. Save catalog, and let's go ahead and make a new item, and the item ID is going to be basic sword. And the display name can be basic sword. So now we can select a currency, and that is something that I forgot to do. So let's go ahead in the currency tab and create a new currency. I'm going to make the display name gold, and the currency can be GD. So currency. Oh yeah, initial deposit. Let's make the initial deposit 50. All right, cool. So go back to our catalogs, go back to our items. We're going to want to delete the basic entry that's there, and go to our basic sword, and we want to select our GD currency, and the cost for this sword, I'm going to make it 50, and we'll set the same cost in Unity, 50. Okay. So let's just quickly make one more thing. So create a new empty game object in the scene, and let's call this game manager. And let's go ahead and create a new script. Actually, no. Let's continue using Playfab manager. So inside Playfab manager, let's create a new public item array, and we're going to call that items. Now, in order to make our new class show inside the editor, we want to serialize it. So we want to, above the item class, do system.serializable. Save that and save the Playfab manager. And if we go ahead to our game manager, our Playfab manager, once it's finished compiling, we now have our items. So I'm just going to delete the game manager. I'm also going to create a new new folder, and I'm going to call this folder prefabs. And I'm going to drag the sword into that and delete it from the scene. Now in our items, let's go ahead and drag our sword, and that is our first item. So in the next video, we'll be going over a bit of logic in the game, and we will be just adding like all our inventory and purchasing systems. I'm pretty sure we can do that all in one video. What we're gonna do is when we buy an item, it's gonna spawn out in the scene, and then we are able to just drag it around wherever we want, and we're able to just keep stacking the scene permanently. We could also, if you guys wanted to, let me know in the comments if you want to know how to make it so we can save the scene as well. So by that I mean, like, if we have like instead of just Playfab saving the inventory, we can save the state of the game as well. So if we have like 10 basic swords out in the scene in random spots, we can save that in another file as positionary and rotation data. So yeah, if you guys want to see any of that, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe, really helps me out a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next Playfab.